As Toyota readies its 6th generation 4Runner, its once rival the Nissan Xterra could be getting the green light for a new generation. Grab your snacks and drinks, your roof tents, and let's get into it. If you guys are excited as I am that the Xterra could be coming back for Nissan to challenge the 4Runner, smash the heck out of that like button and make sure you are subscribed, because the next thing I hear about the new 4Runner, I will be sharing it with you. We should have a reveal in the next month or two. But Nissan, once in on the off-road game with the new Xterra over at Jalopnik. Now, before we get into the new Xterra, the 3rd generation, let's talk about the first 2 generations real quick. Growing up in a small town in Nebraska, you knew who had an Xterra in town. When this thing came out in the late 90s, early 2000s of the 1st generation, it stole the show. Anytime you saw one on the road with its double roof, its asymmetrical rear window, its peppy body on frame presence, it was a gorgeous and still is a gorgeous vehicle. The updated Xterra that you see on the screen right here, this blue one, when they refreshed it, it is still very good looking and handsome to this day. And just like the 4Runner, it is a body on frame vehicle, always has been and always will be. They're not gonna, for a 3rd generation, they're not just gonna take the Pathfinder and redesign it. No. It cannot be a unibody. It has to be a truck-based platform. And the 1st generation, we had a basic 4-speed auto, but you could get it with the manual transmission. You had your choice between 143 horsepower 4-cylinder or the 170 horsepower 3.3-liter V6. Not a lot of difference there in horsepower, but the torque was where you needed it with the V6. However, when they refreshed it, they gave it a supercharged V6 that we saw in the Frontier as well. That produced 246 pound-feet of torque and 231 pound-feet of torque in the manual. The 2nd generation came around, still really cool looking. It kept its double roof line. It kept the handle and the C-pillar. It kept the asymmetrical rear window. Just the front end didn't do it for me compared to the previous generation of the rounded headlights. And they didn't need that supercharged V6 anymore because they put a fat 4-liter V6 in it, kind of like the 4Runner has a 4-liter V6, right? That had 261 horsepower, 281 pound-feet of torque. The 2nd gen came out in the mid-2000s, and it lasted until 2015. Check this out. Look how cheap a 2015 Nissan Xterra was, coming in at $31,000 fully loaded for the Pro 4X 4x4. That was for the 5-speed automatic, but you could save $1,000 or so and get the 6-speed manual with the 4-liter V6. You can still find some Xterras out there on the used market for some pretty good prices. They are very reliable, very stout vehicles. Here's one $18,000, still might be a little much, but for 60,000 miles, it's just getting broken in. This one got me good though, guys. Check out this. With a body on frame SUV, you can do crazy stuff like this. I don't know who would ever buy this, but this is hashtag Florida man through and through. This is in Cape Coral, just up the street from me. It is just ridiculous. But it goes to show that you can customize the heck out of these things and make them even more capable off-road, or in the swamp in the case of Florida. So back to Jalopnik here. What's interesting, they were quoting Autoblog, but if I click on this link here, it's a "we cannot help you." It is a dead link, so I wonder if the information here was not supposed to be shared by Autoblog. It's hard to say, but Nissan wants back in with the Frontier base. It will be on the F Alpha platform, which is super old. The discontinued Xterra was on the old F Alpha platform, but you know what? The Frontier is currently on that platform, and it is still my favorite midsize pickup truck. Nissan is considering the revival of Xterra so it can play around the off-beaten path. Autoblog spoke to Nissan American Senior Vice President and Chief Planning Officer Pons, I'm not going to try that last name, who detailed what a new Xterra would have to be taken seriously, a legitimate off-road chops and an affordable price. One of the chief criteria he listed that it's got to be authentic, and that it has to be a serious truck. So real quick with authenticity, as we look at the 2nd gen Xterra here, it's gonna have the double roof. It's gonna have the iconic roof rails too, with the optional fog lights on top. It's gotta have body on frame. Oh man, I didn't even know this had underfloor storage, which is pretty cool. See, I don't think I've ever driven an Xterra. I've been in one ages ago, probably when I was in high school. I mean, that steering wheel is one of the worst steering wheels I've ever seen. It is what the market wants right now. They killed it off in 2015 due to emissions as well as sales going down. I can pull up sales for you real quick. Almost 80,000 in its inaugural year, and then it was all the way down to about 10 to 15,000 in its last few years, but they didn't really give it the attention it needed to stay competitive. All right, so back to its iconic styling. There's the asymmetrical rear window. There's the little pop out on the rear lift gate. And no, the rear window didn't roll down like the 4Runner, but they could implement that here. Hopefully they give us a manual transmission, but they'll probably just keep the 9-speed auto. That's perfectly fine. We're not going to see the CD player return, unfortunately. But they need to keep a lot of the styling elements here to make sure it is undeniably the Xterra, like the double roof, like the roof rails, the C-pillar back here, or the C-pillar handle, I should say, the large fenders. Mr. Pons from Nissan also says it has to have real truck capability in order that it would need to be relatively inexpensive as well as incorporate some modern design details. Rounded headlights. Well, it's a neo-retro design, but I hope they go back to those rounded headlights. And Alfonso, Nissan's chief designer, I saw him and he actually ran into me. I shook his hand at the Japan Mobility Show. The fact that he recognized me was like, what the heck? It was pretty crazy. But he's an incredible designer, and he told Autoblog how he sees the opportunity now to have retro designs that are more subtle and allude to the past design cues without being restricted by them. So as we pull up the best looking generation, in my opinion, absolutely classic design. They need to go back to this. And this is the design that is the ultimate winner, in my opinion. What do you guys think? This, especially in yellow, that was one of the iconic colors for the Xterra. If we have 4-spoke wheels again, 16-inch aluminum wheels would be awesome. The closest thing we have so far, when Nissan just detailed its upcoming product stack, essentially they showed all their vehicles upcoming the next few years. There's a fully electric 3-row SUV that's supposed to be coming in like 2028. And here's the closest thing we have to the Xterra. Does it have an asymmetrical rear window? It's kind of hard to tell, but this would be fully battery electric. And that's not what the market really wants right now for off-roaders. So this is great, but if we go into the next tier of vehicles here, I don't see any Xterra type vehicle, which comes as there's the new Armada as well as Patrol. There's the refresh Navara more than likely, but no Xterra here in the lineup. Now there's this, which I'm not sure. My guess would be a refreshed Pathfinder, but it is hard to say. It doesn't look body on frame to me. And I agree in the comments here with Hammerhead Fist Punch. He says, Nissan can easily compete for buyers that don't want the latest and greatest, who want a simple, off-road capable, reliable truck. With everyone going turbo and hybrid, a big, natty aspirated V6 and affordable pricing is all people would need to consider in cross-shopping the competition. And with the new 4Runner almost 99.9% sure going 2.4-liter turbo, that's going to leave a lot of the old school 4Runner buyers and people who are in the market for the old 4Runner. They could get essentially a new 4Runner in the Xterra with the 3.8-liter V6 and 310 horsepower. That engine is fantastic. The 9-speed auto is fantastic. Give us lockers. At least a rear locker would be great. At last week's Nissan Arc presentation, Nissan said, hey, in North America with Mitsubishi, we're giving a next-gen 1-ton pickup produced in Mexico. Now, I thought that would be like F350 sort of competitor, but according to other sources, they're alluding, excuse me, to a Frontier successor. And that would make sense for Mitsubishi as well. I think with the cancellation of the Titan, I think Nissan's completely done with full-size pickup trucks. So this makes way more sense to me after clarifying some sources here. But this next-gen 1-ton pickup produced in Mexico. So to make it, what's interesting is they say North America, produced in Mexico, and Mexico isn't even highlighted here. What the heck, Nissan? Get your act together, and including Central America into what is North America. But whatever. And this makes sense because Nissan wants to make that Canton, Mississippi plant an EV plant. And maybe they make that little off-roading Xterra EV like vehicle that we saw. I think it's called the Chill Out. I forget this. Anyways, it's a silly concept that they came out with a couple of years ago, but it looks like it's getting the green light. Now we just need to get the green light for the 3.8 liter V6, 310 horsepower or so Frontier. Who knows? We could get an all-new Montero here in the United States as well, or Montero Sport, whatever they want to call that. Xterra, the lights are going. It's making a lot of sense for me. So if they're going to give the green light to this pickup truck, new next-gen pickup truck that's supposed to replace the Frontier, how about we get an all-new Montero Sport? They could call it the Triton here for North America, at least that pickup truck from Mitsubishi, and then also give us... Gosh, I'm getting really excited for this, actually, if you guys can't tell. And if it is based on this new next-gen 1-ton pickup, it would be on an all-new exclusive platform more than likely as well. I don't expect it, since it's going to be joint venture between Mitsubishi and Nissan, I don't expect it to share the Mitsubishi Triton's platform that we see in other markets or the current F-Alpha platform that's been around for eons. I think it's going to be all new. They will be launching a plug-in hybrid together as well to probably supplant the current Outlander plug-in hybrid. And for Nissan, it would probably be the Rogue and or the Pathfinder to get that sort of plug-in hybrid powertrain as well. This new pickup truck from these companies is expected to arrive between March 31st, 2027 and March 31st, 2031. So that's a huge window. And if the Xterra is pushed back that far, which it probably is, you can almost kiss the 3.8 liter V6 out the window. And then they would have to come up with probably a hybrid powertrain together. It's hard to say. It depends on so much with the government and the emission regulations. We're just going to have this yo-yo effect, which is really going to screw with manufacturers. So I don't want to get my hopes up too much. I think having the Xterra come back is pulling at my heartstrings a little bit, especially growing up a kid of the 90s and the 2000s. Seeing the Xterra on the road was just chef's kiss in terms of something uniquely designed and capable at the same time. And unfortunately, Nissan killed it off before the off-road craze was rekindled here in the United States like we've never seen before. And unfortunately for Nissan, it's not just them missing the off-road game. They also have missed the hybrid game here in the United States as hybrid sales are taking off. They don't even have one available. So we're not even going to see our first Nissan hybrid for another couple of years in the United States while they have e-Power everywhere else. Is this kind of Nissan not understanding the customer, not expecting where the market's going, and them getting caught with their pants down? And I want them to have an Xterra, but this is Nissan, so I don't want to get my hopes up whatsoever, even though I guess I'm still excited for it, as foolish as that may be. I'm going to shut it down there. Thank you guys for watching. Pour one out for our homie, the Xterra, and hopefully it can come back to life before it's too late. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.